on a prosecutorial question. Just because you win a case doesn't mean the person, there's many people that have been convicted that are innocent. When you're looking at, if you were interviewing Chad Cobb and assuming, and you may be right, they didn't do the right prep, but assuming you knew these answers, you knew these inconsistencies, would you be uncomfortable as a prosecutor saying, you know what, I just can't in my own mind, based upon their own admission that everybody's lying to some extent, I just don't feel comfortable moving forward with the prosecution of a case like this, with the contradictions, the motivations, and witnesses that are on the stand that aren't being truthful, and they're being called by you as the attorney?
Well, I think that as a lawyer, forget prosecutor, you're not supposed to put anyone on the stand that you believe would be lying. That's called subordination of perjury. And if you're relying upon someone who is telling half truths, I know in California, and I'm sure this is true in Ohio and every other state, we have a jury instruction that says if that you believe a witness is lying about one thing, you can disregard everything that they say. So that would be a jury instruction I would certainly highlight on the defense side. So when you're looking at whether or not it would be wise to prosecute a case like this, I think that you would be hard pressed to trust someone that is not being completely honest with you. Now, I go back to, I feel like that they were caught off guard. I don't think that they were as prepared as they needed to be with what Chad would say and what his real motivations are. Because Chad is trying to say now that he had nothing to do with this crime at all, that he may have been involved in the cover-up of it, and that it was his ex-wife, Erica Stefanko, that was the true killer, is what those implications are by what he testified to. So I think that the prosecutor didn't know exactly what they were in for when they put him on the stand.
Yeah. False in one, false in all, false in unibus. There was some Latin phrase that we had in law school about that, is what you're referring to. And I agree with you. Yeah. And Gigi, I'm curious, as a prosecutor, you have an ethical duty to make sure you're not prosecuting somebody that you believe could potentially be innocent of a crime as well. But if I'm sitting there, I'm just putting myself in this position, and thank God I've never had to do this. But if I'm sitting there listening to Chad, and he's basically not even accepting responsibility for the physicality of the murder itself, and I have him as my witness, I'm telling you, as a lawyer, as a person, forget about what the jury's going to do. I'm going down to my bosses and saying, I got a problem with what this witness came out with that we're hearing, and I'm assuming we're hearing it for the first time. So anyway, guys, that's a question that we'll have to leave up in the air there, because we need to take a quick break.